11 times 5, then I'll just do 10 times 5 plus 1 times 5, or you can just say 5. So 10 times 5, as we just went over, very simple. You just write the 5 and put a 0 behind it, and then you add whatever that number was you started with. So 50 plus 5 will be 55. So this is the strategy I recommend you guys take for when you guys approach 11s. So this is the one I'll be covering when we go over each of our practice problems. So with that being said, let's go ahead and do some practice. Let's try 11 times 13. How would you do 11 times 13? So what we would do is that same sort of formula where you do 13 times 10 plus 13 times 1, which is just 13. So now we know how to do our tens, so we can very easily say that 13 is just 13 times 10 is just 13 with a 1 with a 0 behind it. And then we add 13. So now we get to 130 plus 13. And we do that addition. 130 plus 13 is 143. So good job, everybody, at getting 143. For those of you who aren't there quite yet, it's all good. We're just getting into our practice. So how about we try 11 times 17 now? Go ahead and give this one a shot. Taylor T asks, what's the question? Well, I'm trying to ask you, what is 11 times 17? So you need to tell me, what does 11 times 17 equal? Narendra says these are easy. Good. That's what you want. You want them to feel easy. That's kind of the goal of our course, is to make multiplication feel easy. That's why it's called magical multiplication, is because we're learning all these special tricks and rules that not everybody else might know, and it'll make this super, super simple for you. Zane King asks, what is 11 times 1,000? It would just be 11,000. Okay, a lot of people are getting the right answer now, so let's see how they did it. First, you do 17 times 10, and you're going to do 17 times 10 plus 17 times 1, which is just 17. So first we do 17 times 10, which is just 17 with a 0 behind it, and 170 plus 17. We look at that. Excuse me. Maybe I'll write this vertically because it's a little easier to add for you guys. That was a weird addition sign. Okay. 170 plus 17. 0 plus 7 is 7. 7 plus 1 is 8. And 1 plus, you just drag down that 1, giving you 187. Okay, I hope this is making sense for you guys. So let's try another one. Let's do maybe 11 times 19. Narendra asks, is this our last class? Yes, this is our last class. Our goal for this whole course was to make it through 12s, and we're on 11s right now. We're going to get 12s right after this, and we might have a little time to spare at the end. Okay, so go ahead and try and tell me what 11 times 19 is. Oh, thanks, Narendra. She says, I wish we had more. Zane asks, what's 7 times 3,000? Well, That's pretty easy. You just do 7 times 3, which we know is 21. And then because you were multiplying by 3,000, now it's just going to be 2,100. Oh, no, sorry. 21,000. I apologize. I missed a 0. Okay, let's see how we do 11 times 9. So first we do 19 times 10. And then we'd add 19 times 1. It's going to add a total to 11. So we do 19 with a 0 at the back. So that's 19 times 10. Then we add 19 to it. But I'll write that vertically, so it's a little easier for the addition. So this is a 9 here. Then 9 plus 1 is 10. Carry a 1 over, leave the 0 behind. 1 plus 1 is 2, giving us 209 for our answer. Okay, let's do one more multiple of 11. Let's try 11 times 23. Let me know. Narendra says if we have time, can we do the 13 table? No, we're not going to be doing 13. Because if you think about it, if you were to do, like, let's say 13 times 5, you can think about 13 as just 3 times 5 plus 10 plus 5. So that's why you don't really need to memorize 13 per se, because you can just break it down into these smaller multiples that you know how to do. So that's why we're not going to do 13. Okay, let's see. How are we going to do 23 times 11? Well, how we're going to start is by doing 23 times 10 plus 23 times 1, or 23. And 23 times 10, we know will just be 23 with a 0 behind it. And we're going to add 23 to that. So our answer will be 253. Good job, everybody, for getting 253. Let's move on to our multiples of 12. Actually, before we move on, let's just see, how's everybody feeling about your multiples of 11? So let me know in chat, do you guys want to do another practice problem, or do you guys feel good to move on to multiples of 12? So I just want to get a scope of the class, so let me know how you're feeling. And people are saying move on. Okay, I do have a couple people asking to do one more. So just so that everybody's coming at the same pace and feeling comfortable, we're going to do one more. So let's try 11 times 18. So I just won't wait as long for this one, as you guys are starting to get into the hang of it. So for those of you that asked for another one, go ahead and give this one a shot. As always, the way we want to structure it is that number times 10 plus the number. So first 18 times 10 is just an 18 with a 0 behind it. And we add 18 to that. So I'll write that vertically so it's a little easier. Eight plus 0 is 8, and 8 plus 1 is 9. And then we carry that 1 down to give us 198. So I'll leave that up for anybody who didn't get that. I was a little confused. But now we can move on to our multiples of 12. Okay. So for multiples of 12, if we break it down into its prime factors, we can see it as 2 times 2 times 3. Because 12 is just like 4 times 3, but we can break 4 down into its prime numbers of 2 times 2. So we're going to write 12 as 2 times 2 times 3. And what this means is very similar to 6. 12 is going to have both the checks or rules of 2 and 3. So the first thing we're going to do is check that answer is even. And the second thing we're going to do is check that the digits of the answer add to a multiple of 3. So for example, let me just run through one. Let's do 72. And we want to see whether or not 72 could be a multiple of 12. We're going to first check to see if it's even, which it is, so it'll pass the first check. Then we want to see if it's a multiple of 3. So to do that, we're going to add the digits together. So 7 plus 2. And 7 plus 2 is 9. We all know that 3 times 3 is 9. So it'll pass this check as well. And if it passes both of the checks, then it will be a multiple of 12. So in this case, this would definitely be a multiple of 12. Or could be. Once again, these checks aren't definitive. They're not going to make sure that you have the right answer. It'll just make sure you have a good answer. So that's an answer that's more likely to be right. And just prevents you from making silly mistakes along the way. So if I give you guys a number like 144, can you guys tell me, is 144 a multiple of 12? Let me know yes or no in the chat. Is it a multiple of 12? And how much longer do we have? Just about 15 minutes. Okay. We're seeing about 75% yeses, 25% nos. So how are we going to check it? Well, what we're going to do is we're going to do both of these checks, and we're going to see if both of them are true. Then the number will be a multiple of 12. So first of all, we need to see if the answer is even, which the last digit is 4. And since 4 is even, 144 would be even. And now we do the check for multiples of 3, where we add the digits up. So 1 plus 4 plus 4. 4 plus 4 will be 8, and 8 plus 1 will be 9. So this will add up to 9. And as we know from the last one we just did, 9 is a multiple of 3. So this means that 144 will also add to a multiple of 3. So the answer, the answer here would be yes. Okay, let's try another one. How about we do 252? So I want you guys to tell me, is 252 a multiple of 12? Or rather, I'll say, could 252 be a multiple of 12? Because this doesn't guarantee that it is a multiple of 12, but it makes it in good contention to be a multiple of 12. Okay. So remember, the way we're going to check it is by doing both of these checks, and you need both of them to be true. Okay, this time I'm seeing about 90% yeses, 10% nos. So let's check it out. First of all, we look at to see if it's even. So we look at the last digit, which in this case is a 2. So if the last digit is a 2, then it will be even. Next, we need to see if it's divisible by 3. So we're going to add these together. 2 plus 5 is 7. 7 plus 2 is 9. And as we know, 9 is a multiple of 3. So 252 will also be a multiple of 3. So the answer here is a definite yes. Okay. So now I'm going to pull up the multiples of 12, going up to 12 times 12. Paste them in here. So you'll notice that for all multiples of 12, they'll be even, and they jump up by 2's, at least in their last digit. Okay, so how about we try some practice problems? First, let's try 14 times 12. Go ahead and give that one a shot. Let me know what you get. Cool. I got chili. Okay. Let's see how we would do this. So for 12s, you could also approach it like you did for 11s, in which you structured it as the number times 10 first. But the only difference with 12s as opposed to 10s is when you're adding it, you add the number times 2. So this is definitely a way to do it. Here, 14 times 10 will be 140. And 14 times 2 will be 28. So when you add these two together, you'll get 168, which you'll get 168 here as well. It'll just take a little longer to get there. Now we want to check our answer. So 1 plus 6 is 7. 7 plus 8 is 15. 15 is a multiple of 3. And 168 ends with an 8. An 8 is an even number. So it'll pass our check. Okay, so let's try another one. How about we try 17 times 12? And I would recommend doing this strategy here as well. Kara asks, what does panelist mean? It just means the people that are presenting. So me and the moderator. So it's just kind of like a ranking of the people in the call. So we're the people presenting, and then everybody else is just the people taking the class. So that's all that it means. It's just the official word for it. Oh, sorry, I'm really cold all of a sudden. Okay, so let's see how we do this. First, we do 17 times 10, which is just 17 with a 0 behind it. Then we do 17 times 2, which will be 34. And 34 plus 170 will be 204. So we'll check it. First of all, we want to make sure it's even, which it ends in a 4. So it will be even. Now we need to see if the numbers add up to a multiple of 6. Yeah, I'm sad too, Narendra. Okay, so we would do 2 plus 0 plus 4, which is 6. And 6 is obviously a multiple of 3, so 3 times 2 is 6. So 204 will also be a multiple of 3, and it'll pass our check. Giovanni asks, how much time do we have? About 10 minutes. Maybe a little less. So we'll do maybe 1 or 2 more practices with multiples of 12. So let's go ahead and try 19 times 12. Go ahead and give this one a shot. Annabelle asks, will I be in another class? No, I'm not going to be teaching any other classes, at least for the immediate future, because I'm going to be heading up to college this weekend. I'll still be in online classes, but I got an off-campus apartment, so I'm going to go live up there. And I'll be very busy with my schoolwork, so it'll take out a lot of the time in which I currently use to teach. Okay. So the way we would solve this is first we do 19 times 10, which is 190. Then we would add 19 times 2, which is 38. 2 less than 20 times 2. And 190 plus 38 would be 228. Once again, we want to do our check. So first, to make sure it ends in an even number, which it does. Then we need to add these digits up. 2 plus 2 plus 8. 2 plus 2 is 4. 4 plus 8 is 12. And 12 is a multiple of 3, because 3 times 4 is 12. So it'll pass this check as well. Now their number. Narendra asks, what are you studying? I'm going to be, or rather I am studying business and computer science as well. So that's like coding. So there's a lot of kind of applications, especially with the coding side for math. It's a very logical sort of process. So that's kind of why I think I enjoy it, because I really enjoy math as well. And that's why I'm so happy to be able to teach it to you guys. In 2nd grade, I coded in the computer class. We made a movie. That's super cool. I'm glad you got that kind of opportunity. I didn't start coding until I got into college. Taylor says, are you going to college or virtual? It's all going to be virtual for me, so it'll be online. Okay, so for our last multiple, let's try 23 times 12. Henson says, it was fun, but now I'm not a computer class. There should be a lot of things online, Hanson, if you're interested in looking it up. There's a lot of resources out online to start learning coding. So what I did is before I started in college, I had already done some coding practice through just looking up certain coding topics online, and then I started practicing from there. So there's these online courses, kind of like the one you're taking now. You can take similar kinds of things in coding. So I would highly recommend you do that if you enjoyed your coding class. It's a very cool subject, and it's very important for the future. You can do a lot of cool things with it. Okay, so let's see how to do 23 times 12. We would do 23 times 12 by treating it like 23 times 10 plus 23 times 2. So 23 times 10 is just going to be 23 with a 0 behind it. And 23 times 2 will be doubling each digit in 23. So it'll be a 4 and a 6. Then we do 230 plus 46, and that'll give us 276, which, if we check it, will first of all be even. So it gets 1 check mark. And then when we add the numbers together, 2 plus 7 is 9, and 9 plus 6 is 15. And 15 is just 3 times 5. So it works. It'll pass. That'll be our answer. So that'll actually wrap it up for today. I just wanted to leave it open to any questions you guys have about anything in the class. So if you guys have any questions, we can do that now. If there are no questions, then we'll just wrap it up. But I just wanted to provide a little spot for you guys as we're wrapping up to ask if you guys had any last questions. But, yeah, thank you guys for all of your kind comments. Pranav says, why did we go up to the 12s table? We went to the 12s table because once you get past like 10, really, you can just break it down into smaller addition. So if we tried to do something like 27 times 5, or 27 times 14, we would be able to do this because we can do the small multiplication. So we know what 4 times 7 is. We know what 4 times 2 is. So we can say, okay, 4 times 7 is 28. 4 times 2 is 8. Plus this 2 is 10. And then keep solving this. 1 times 7 is 7. 1 times 2 is 2. So you could figure out 14 times 27 just because you know those smaller multiples. And you don't have to memorize the multiples of 14 or the multiples of 27. Oh, Alethea says, are you going to send the Quizlet? Thank you so much for reminding me about that. Yes. Let me link the Quizlet for you guys in the chat. So do not go just yet. You're definitely going to want this Quizlet. So I'll put that in the chat. That link is to a Quizlet, which will have all sorts of practice materials for you. So it'll have all the numbers going up to 12, so you can use that to practice. Thank you, Derek, for the compliment. Yes, you can say your compliment. Go ahead. You can just type it, please. You look handsome. I appreciate that. I try to look handsome. I do my best. Okay. So if we don't have any more questions, we're just going to wrap it up there. So this was our last time together, unfortunately, but I hope you guys really learned something from this course, and I hope that you guys keep using multiplication in your life, and you guys feel a little more confident and empowered knowing a little more multiplication before. So I hope everything else becomes a little easier as a result. Okay, that wraps it up for me. Have a great rest of your week, guys. Goodbye.